Bearcat Bounce Podcast. Back at it again. It's a Monday after the first spring game of the Scott Satterfield era for the Bearcat football team. A Monday after spring practice wraps up for the football team. A Monday where there's action, players coming in, coming out of the football program for the Bearcats. A Monday as well where there's still numerous different things going on the basketball side of things, and a Monday as well where I get to spend a couple of hours with some of my pals, some of my beautiful brothers. That's right, the Bearcat group, the BBP, the trio, the quattro, if you add me, if you will. Without further ado, it's a Monday where I get to welcome in my guys, Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, Ryan Royer. Gents, how are we?
Well, I guess Chad left.
He's back.
I hit the wrong button. I hit the wrong button.
Chad just wanted that was like a Chris Collinsworth slide in podcast style. You know,
so dramatic these days.
The chair.
I like it.
It's been a crappy day, so I'm doing all right.
Okay. Well, I want to hear all about the volleyball because that's going to be a new thing where we have to get the updates. But
yeah,
can you fill us in? Was it a successful weekend there?
They went 3-1. They won the silver bracket. They played a team that was. It was funny. You know how this goes. Mm-hmm. They played a team that didn't make an error. Like they played perfect pretty much the whole game. And then I watched their next game, and they were like 50% as good as they were in the game against Gus's team.
Yep.
Every serve went in. They returned every serve. Like they played great. Gus's team played good, but not good enough. So they lost once. Won the silver bracket. She sprained her ankle.
If you're not first, you're last.
They got a I mean, they won a championship. It just was the silver one.
She sprained her ankle. Are we all rice right now? Rest ice, compression.
Yeah, she's on rice. But she played. She sprained it in the first game. She played the other 3 games on the sprained ankle. So that Brendel toughness, shining through.
Yeah.
So
that.
Let's put the team on my back. Put them.
That was
on
good.
My back.
It was a good day.
There you go. Beautiful Indy. Did you check out any Indy spots? Any food, or was it all kind of just centric?
No, that's not how those work, man. You go to the tournament and you sit there until it's done.
Right.
I got there at 1:45. We left the gym at 9:15. That night, these places are nuts. I got a good parking spot. I wasn't leaving. I wasn't going anywhere. You couldn't have paid me $50 to leave that place.
Get a half-mile walk if you leave.
Yeah, people
you
were parked.
A walking taco in there or something like that for dinner.
I did nachos with jalapenos and the nacho cheese. That's always my go-to.
Yeah,
when possible.
The best cheese in the world.
Oh, I love it.
Fresh. Just the flavor is impeccable.
Impeccable.
Connor thinks he can buy my integrity here. I know you got the inside scoop on Nike Jordan. Said new stuff next few weeks. Said May fair. What am I hearing? No comment. I'm not hearing anything. I don't know.
But thanks for the donation all the same.
It is funny though. You just hop on Twitter and you'll either see a picture or you'll see a tweet where, just hop on Twitter for about 20 minutes and just scroll and start putting things together. It's interesting.
There were a lot of interesting shoes at the spring game.
Yeah, precisely. Very much so. On and off the field. Aaron, how are we?
Pink eye, still recovering.
You with the pink eye. A lot of people wanted to give you a hug. They wanted it.
I know.
Smith hug.
Hey, and I didn't shake anyone's hands. It was like COVID all over again. I was all about the forearms.
Some people were like,
Yeah.
"What are you doing, man? Are you
I
trying to
know.
blow me?"
I had to apologize. Well, I had to apologize to Zach later on. I'm like, look, I wasn't trying to not like shake your hand, but I'm not trying to give you and your family pink eye. The last thing I need to do is be the reason that pink eye breaks out in the locker room of the Cincinnati Bearcats.
Yeah. Well,
We've seen worse.
we
I
have
don't doubt that.
UCF baby. Yeah, Aaron, your hair was flowing. You got it trapped in a hat now. But
I do.
Okay, fair enough.
Always keeping you on your toes, Brent.
There we go. It's kind of funny. Because Keegan Nixon was there at the game on Saturday, and I went to go retrieve him from the press box, and he was actually coming out when I was going in, so we were able to start walking. He was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go down to the field and look for AC," and I was like, "Okay, go on the field and look for AC." I was like, "Who the hell is AC?" I was like, I mean, Anthony Calhoun is the Indianapolis version of AC, but all of a sudden he's like, AC from the podcast. I was like, who? He's like, Aaron Smith. Oh, okay. Aaron. All right, let's go find Aaron. And there's Aaron coming with those flowing locks, aggressive locks. You look beautiful. You look beautiful. Let's just put it that way. But Ryan, sir, how are we?
We're good, man. Had a good weekend. Just ready to break it all down with you guys.
There we go. Speaking of breaking down, man, if your car breaks down,
That was a layup.
if it breaks down,
man. I was Wade to LeBron right there.
If your car breaks down, and you just gotta hitch a toe. Just head it on over to Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Get yourself fixed up. Say what's up to Danco Joe. Mention Chad, Aaron, or I guess AC, Ryan.
Get out of here.
Say mention the BBP, a little Bearcat love, and get $10 off your next oil change, 10% off your next fixing. So Danco Joe, Danco Transmission and Auto Care. But without further ado, spring game was on Saturday. Chad, you were obviously in Indy. Ryan, you had something pop up. So Aaron and I were there, as well as Dave and Keegan as well. But Aaron, I want to just get your initial impressions on kind of the day itself, because it was kind of put on pretty well. They kind of, had band, cheerleaders, atmosphere. It was definitely seemed like a little bit more went into putting this one together for the fans.
It was spring training for everyone, right? I mean, there's no bad time to get the band going and kind of get that atmosphere going for them, get them out and about. And the weather certainly didn't hurt any of that, getting everybody out there and all of that. Same thing with the cheerleading staff. They're world champions right now or something like that. So, they're out there just showing off at that point. But good on them. Like I said, the weather was, you couldn't ask for really a much better day. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too, certainly wasn't chilly. Last year it was snowing. The year before that it was rainy and cold. Mm-hmm. So it was a really, really nice day in that regard. And of course we got our first real taste, in person anyway, of what Coach Satterfield and his staff look like, and what this team looks like for that matter. So high fives, handshakes, hugs all around.
There you go.
Except for Aaron.
Except for me, because pink eye.
Just these. Just
give
me one of these.
Forearms.
Yeah, here we go. It was kind of funny because they put 12 noon start time for the spring game, but they did kind of what you guys do when Chad, you and Aaron go live. You kind of say, all right, we're popping live at 8, but then you wait until about like 8:15 to really get going, to let everyone file in. They didn't start the spring game itself until like 12:35, 12:40. So it was good to get everyone in the seats, get everyone ready. But interviewing different people, Dante Corleone, Alec Pierce, Sauce Gardner, just kind of, I feel like they were walking around. They were like, hey, we're going to interview you and put you on the Jumbotron, so get ready. And all of a sudden they're like, okay, all right, here we go. So that made for some good content, but I thought it was put together pretty well, especially considering it was probably a lot of loose ends that they were hoping would work out, and ended up working out. So I thought, it was a good setup. Everything that went into it, and pretty good turnout as well. Thousands of people there, definitely. But it was great weather, as mentioned. As far as the action on the field went, I know, Aaron, you kind of dove into it with Dave a little bit. Chad, Ryan, have you guys been able to get any accounts from anyone outside of what has been read, or any thoughts about the game itself? Whether Ryan talked to someone on the team or Chad speaking more with other people.
No, I've been occupied. It's
Yeah.
it's funeral week, so
Right.
I spent today going through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pictures.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun. I'd rather have been talking to people about the spring game.
Yeah. Well, we got you here for a couple hours, so hopefully we can do that. Ryan,
Right.
did you?
What Ed already is blocked?
Aaron did.
What did Ed do?
Ed said something about Aaron. I didn't get a chance to read it before it was taken down and blocked.
Taking the
Oh
orders.
boy.
Ryan, did you get any accounts on the game itself, or any thoughts?
Yeah, it just seems like offense is still trying to find their identity, and that's kind of typical, but it does seem like the offense is lagging a little bit more than normal. It's when I say like typical, normally the defense, they can get a good scheme in there and they can normally come out quicker and execute a lot better. And that's kind of what happened at all my time there. So you kind of just seeing that pattern lay itself out this spring, and I think the offense got a lot of work to do, but I think they got some good playmakers. They got some good young guys. The quarterback battles definitely going to be something to keep an eye on. And there hasn't been everyone's saying all the word I'm getting. It's a tight race, but good seeing a bunch of guys step up and make some plays this spring.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, let's speak on the quarterback battle a little bit. Chad, you're able to make it a couple practices. Obviously, Aaron, you've been every night chatting, every podcast sitting in on. Ryan, obviously, you've got some pretty strong insider knowledge there. But as far as spring game performances went, the first play of the game was showcase the aggression on defense. Daniel Gresham comes around the edge and a strip sack on Ben, recovered right away by Dante Corleone. So that right there, in essence, if that happened the very first play of the game, you got to think, wow, we've got momentum on our side. Offense set up in a good field position, this, that, and the other. But just a rough start for the offense, as you mentioned, Ryan. But it did seem like Emory, when the bright lights came on, he started to make some plays. And that's what you don't quite get in the practices themselves. Maybe a bit more of a gamer, if you will. As far as the competition goes, it seems like one that's going to carry on into Camp Higher Ground. Thoughts on just the quarterback competition as a whole now that spring practice has wrapped up. Chad or Aaron, started off.
I mean, you're in an interesting spot because you've got 2 6-year guys that are Power 5 level starters. I mean, maybe not national championship level starters, but they're Power 5 level starting quarterbacks. Are they really both? I mean, they seem to get along. They seem to be in a spirited quarterback competition.
Right.
Are they both like there's not much option here after this decision is made. Like, if they decide they're both going to stick it out and compete in camp for the job, I
barring
don't know
injury, right?
Yeah, like you kind of think about how this is going to play out in your head over, basically ever since Emory Jones committed, and then Ben is a lot more healthy and able to go than you thought he was going to be. He has a good camp. Jones has a pretty good camp. From all intents and purposes, they look pretty even at this point in time. I'm sure they would like to have, okay, this is our guy, because, then you can make a very clear cut. This is the direction we're going. The other guy gets to make his choice based off of where the competition was at. But I mean, I don't think you're being very honest if you say one was clearly better than the other.
Right.
I don't know. Like, it's a tough spot. I'm sure. Look, The staff, I guarantee you, is perfectly fine rolling with both of them
Right.
all the way through the season. The guys themselves, one of them's going to have to make a tough call. Both of them are going to have to make a tough call. Like, it's an interesting spot. It's not a spot that a lot of programs are in, having 2 6-year guys that have started a couple years worth of games and a lot of snaps underneath their belt.
Mm-hmm.
They're both different in terms of what they give you and how they give it to you. I don't envy really anybody in this situation and figuring this out, like what's going to happen this summer.
Or you just let them both walk and go with the kid who didn't wear the green jersey and was ready to be hit all day long. Brady Drogosh in the white jersey, just ready to take on the whole team.
No.
But he's gained.
His time will come. His time will come. It is not as a true freshman.
I know, I totally agree. Just being silly. But I thought it was impressive that he did not put the green penny on and was ready to take whatever punishment
they love
gave.
doing that to the young quarterbacks. They love that.
But from what I heard, he loved it.
Yeah.
Like
good.
That's how he plays.
He's got a little bit of psycho in him. Good.
I was talking. I did make a couple phone calls about things yesterday, and I asked somebody. I said, I know this is silly. And it's not comparing him to the name I'm about to drop. But I said, is there a little Josh Allen in that kid? And they said, he's not Josh Allen. But he's big. He said if they had to guess, he probably runs in the 4.5s. He's got a big arm. Yeah.
How
there's
this kid? 6'3"?
6'5"?
He's big. He looks.
Holy shit.
I'm not gonna lie. He looks
the part.
As Aaron likes to say, he looks good. He looks good, man. Good legs, real good legs.
Ankles.
Yeah,
it's all about the ankles.
Ankles, good ankles.
Does he shave his legs? We should get him to shave his legs just for the fun of it.
Okay.
Look at him.
I'm in.
There's a legit conversation that he's the fastest quarterback in that quarterback room. Faster than Evan.
Jeez.
Well,
I mean, this is scary. He's only going to get stronger, too.
Yeah.
With the boy Nico taking care of him.
Nico's the man, by the way.
Yeah.
The absolute man. But, Ryan, I think you were getting ready to say something about the relationship that Emory and Ben kind of have. And, I mean, they both spoke extremely high about each other in the post-game press conference, too.
Yeah. I haven't met Emory, but Ben always speaks so highly of him and say how it's a good, respectful competition, and he's just a really nice guy, really competitive, smart, fun to be around. And I'm sure Emory would say the same thing about Ben. So that's nice. Sometimes people want a little flair, a little spice, but I mean, you're not going to get that from guys like Emory and a guy like Ben. They've been around, they've got a lot of reps, so they know how to handle competitive situations. But I think it's good. I mean, it's good for both of them, coming in. You don't ever want it would be nice, but my job's secure. But the more competition you have, the better it's going to make them. They're going to be heightened attention for every single rep. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to make both of them better quarterbacks. So we're going to get the best version of whichever one they roll out there. That's for sure. But I mean, nowadays with the transfer portal, with NIL, it just kind of puts the spotlight 20 times brighter on situations like this. Whereas I don't know, it kind of reminded me of a Ross Trail, Hayden Moore kind of competition. Right. Both guys who've kind of been around. There's nothing really separating them, and it's just going to come down to really a decision. And there's going to be a good quarterback who has to make a choice. Mm-hmm. And even more likely nowadays, there's a good chance that quarterback's not going to be in the program anymore. And would
you be shocked if both of them had a CPAW on their helmet?
I would be.
In September.
At the end of the day, it's about these guys want to play in the NFL. They that's why Ben came back. That's why Emory transferred. They want to play. They want to play on Sundays. Right. And it's 20 times harder to do that when you're not getting all the reps. And then that just makes me even think, well, if one of them leaves, I mean, what the hell happens if one of them gets hurt? Heaven forbid.
Yeah.
We don't. That depth takes a big hit. So I don't know. It'll be interesting though. That's for sure.
Well, it's interesting because Emery said this is the best quarterback room he's ever been in his college career, and that includes
Florida.
Yeah, that includes
Who
it.
was in
2020, it was Kyle Trask,
him.
Anthony Richardson, him.
Wow.
I mean, that's 2 NFL players and Emery. So he talks about that. But yeah, someone in the chat was asking about Prater being injured. Yeah, Prater was held out of the spring game. He shoulder injury, so he was. He was alive and well and kicking it with the guys and dancing during warm-ups and whatnot. So he was very much locked in on the game, not kind of just injured off to the side. So but he was out. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what shakes out because, like you said, it's going to be hard to see who, if a decision is made and one of them is told one way or the other. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be very interesting what happens over the next few weeks, and if they all decide to stay, then it'll be interesting to see if Satterfield decides to figure out a way to if not use them all, kind of get some sort of a set or anything. I'm not entirely sure, but it'll be interesting to see that. Anything else on quarterbacks, guys? I think it's kind of pretty locked in there. Keegan had a good write up on the quarterback situation as well, so go ahead and check that out on the site. Someone did ask about the running back group, and man, there's a lot of them in there, kind of like the quarterback room. And I thought that Corey Kiner looked pretty good. Aaron, I'm interested to hear what you have to say, but I think the main thing that I noticed about Kiner is that he just seemed like super confident and like happy and dancing. And I know these are all things that really don't pertain to the field, but if you can get someone with the talent that Corey Kiner has, just confident, loose, and out there trying to make his mark on the team, I think that's only positive. So did score a touchdown in the red zone, had a couple good catches with some yak afterwards. Aaron, your thoughts overall on kind of Corey and the running back room just on Saturday?
I think the running back room is basically just a bunch of dudes. I think all of them bring some
Dogs.
I'm not. Nope. That's not the word I chose to use. I think it's a bunch of dudes. I think that all of them have a bunch of different skill sets that they bring to the table. I think nobody's really separated themselves as a guy.
Right.
And so right now, truthfully, I wouldn't be surprised if they bring somebody in from the portal. That said, I think that you have enough guys in this room that you can use 3 to 5 guys every game. And I wouldn't be surprised to see 3 to 5 guys every game get touches out of this room and still have a very good committee. But I don't think you have anybody right now rising to the top.
Yeah.
I'll give you $100 if they bring in a running back in the portal.
Yeah, I was gonna say they've got 6 dudes right now.
I'm just saying if it's somebody who
I'm just saying they have much more pressing needs in the portal.
For sure.
There's zero chance they use one on a running back unless he also plays left tackle.
If it was somebody a la a Jerome Ford, which I think was still a crazy steal that I don't understand to this day, who's a home run hitter, then I think that they wouldn't be afraid to pull the trigger on somebody like that. But
it's a numbers game.
Sure, especially right now.
Now, if somebody left, then maybe you would be onto something. But as the numbers currently stand, they have to get wide receivers multiple 3, 4 of them. They, I'm sure, love to add some offensive line depth. They'd love to add a tight end. They've been offering defensive backs, so I think they're still in the market for a safety or a corner. Like a running back is just so far. Yeah, linebacker, running back is
down on the list of priorities.
Probably like a quarterback and then running back are the 2 places I don't expect them to be hitting the portal this spring.
Special teams.
Interior defensive line.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Ryan.
I think one thing we also need to pay attention to, we might have bodies in the running back room, but I think we might not need a dude as much as we need our O-line to be 20 times better. I mean, look what happened last year. We got the talent. We got the talent in the running back room to get the yards. I think our O-line has just been way below standard for what we had in the past. I mean, the O-line play we had when we had Mike Warren, when we had Jerome Ford this first year. I think the past 2 years prior to that, after that, it's took a big hit, and the things that it limited with Ben with last year. So I think mainly we got the guys in the running back room that can get the yards, but if we don't get O linemen and get them on the same page and be able to pick up the blitz, be able to adjust, be able to, just be the Cincinnati O line that we had in the first 3 years with Coach Fickle. I think we really need to get back to that, especially that was a big hit to our offense the past couple of years.
Yeah. And I mean, I think a lot of it as well with the whole running back situation is just really, really understanding the scheme. And, because you heard Coach Satterfield in the press conference talk about how, there were a couple plays where they didn't get to the spot they need to get to before cutting up and getting to the second level. He's still waiting for all of them to get on the same page of just the scheme overall that he wants to run with the running back position. But you also see this is it's a very sexy, if you will, run packages that were kind of probably only slowly shown in the spring game. H back in the backfield, a lot of that, the zone option read that we've been hearing about. And then you've got option with not only running backs, but option with wide receivers as well with the quarterback. So, and we saw a reverse as well. There's going to be some wrinkles. And I think more reps that they get, the more time learning the scheme and learning where to pick and choose the spots and kind of how to read the blocks of your offensive line, it's only going to pay off and really spring the running backs to have someone step up or have all of them take their game to the next level. But be interesting to see who does start to separate themselves, especially at Camp Higher Ground. But I don't know. It'll be fun. That'll be a fun thing to watch because you can just tell how much Satterfield loves running the football and the schemes that go into it and the reads that he wants the running backs to be able to make. So it'll be fun to see that evolve. Anything else offensively? I think wide receiver wise, we're going to touch on that during our beautiful superlative package, unless any of you want to sprinkle some thoughts on the wideouts, because I think obviously there's a lot to talk about there.
How was D? Did he play? Did he go much?
He did. He did, but he didn't have the splash plays. Like Sterling Burkhalter had a lot. Barry Jackson obviously had a ton.
Yeah.
And then the walk-ons, man, they're kind of surprising me. It's not like they're gonna, sure they, Leslie Ando and J.R. Thomas. It's like they were making some tough catches in traffic, getting licks put on them and still holding on. But I think D had like a couple catches, but nothing like really popping off the page.
Okay.
Same with Donovan Ollie. He had probably a 40-yard catch, but it was called back with a holding call. So it was kind of
I think Ollie's going to be just that steady, bigger bodied possession kind of move the chains guy.
Right. Aaron, did you see anything from D? For the most part?
I thought both the starters were fairly quiet, and I wonder how much of that is the staff knows what they have with those two guys, and they really wanted to see what they had in the rest of the room.
And the pass rush of the first team defense too.
Sure. Yeah. But that was just kind of my takeaway, because I felt like they really, I don't know that they necessarily opened up the playbook a little bit more for the other guys outside of D. Wiggins and Donovan Ollie, but that's just how it felt watching it, I guess.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Defensively, obviously, defensive line is I wrote in the article, the 5 observations. That is a luxury to have that in the transition year, not only with the new coaching staff, but with the move to the Big 12. They are fantastic. And Malik Vann was not with the first three that went out there, but his first play that he went out there, he had a sack. I'm sure Eric Phillips will get a lot of run. When you talk about, like, we've barely mentioned Eric Phillips this offseason, I feel like, and it's just he looks like he's kind of put on muscle and going to continue his
Phillips looks great.
Progress. Yeah,
he looks great.
He does, and it's just crazy to think when that first group goes out there, they're all making plays, they're all owning the line of scrimmage, and then you rush in three more guys who had a ton of playing time last year, and all had big moments as well. I mean, the D line is just stout. It's great.
Yeah, I was happy to see guys like Watley, guys like Phillips, even getting to see Malik Vann back out there again. It feels like it's been forever since we've seen him back out there.
Yeah.
The defensive line it's going to create havoc, especially in the new scheme.
Briggs does look a little trimmed down, don't you think, Chad?
Yes, he does.
And Aaron, yeah, he looks like he's cut a little bit to play on the outside. I'm sure that's something he's going to add to his plethora. So
he said that in his post game though.
That's
just that he feels more comfortable moving out there, especially with him kicking out to end. It's a little bit easier for him to move at the weight he's at now than when he was being kicked out to end last year.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah. He looks great. CJ Doggett making plays. It's just, man, they are deep and they're good, really good. Linebacker, obviously a big hit. Jaheim Thomas enters the transfer portal. We can go ahead and just touch on that now. But I mean, the four out there that I guess we can kind of, no, we're not going to do it for this part, but you've got Greshik, who looks like he's going to be the man to kind of hunt the quarterback there. Dorian Jones plays downhill on every play. Your boy, the Adonis, Aaron, Jack Dingle he's huge.
That's Chad's boy.
He is a helmet taller than everyone. It's just crazy. And then of course Deshaun Pace just primed for a monster season. Kind of linebacker room takes a hit though, and I don't know. Chad, you think they kind of roll with James Camden continuing his crazy story, or is it going to be kind of a big portal watch for that second level?
I mean, I'm sure they'll look at the portal for linebacker, but I don't think it's like I mean, we talked about this a lot last night on the nightcap. This is really a defense that only plays two traditional linebackers.
Right.
It's an old school, it's an old school variation on what the 3-4 used to look like. Mm-hmm. A lot of bulk on the defensive line.
Yep. And
then two middle linebacker types, two inside linebacker types, a rush end, a stand-up defensive lineman, essentially, with Greshik. You're seeing it with Jamal Williams, you're seeing it with Tyler Gillison that they've got in that slot. And then the strong side linebacker is more of a coverage athlete, hybrid linebacker, outside linebacker, nickel, safety. Like, they're asked to do a lot of different things. So I obviously you'd love to still have had Jaheim in the fold, but I don't know that, look, I think Jonathan Thompson is going to be a star.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I just, the way that he has flashed so many times, whenever you have watched this team in practice at higher ground, last year on the scout team, there would be times that you're like, who's that guy in the weird number? Oh, it's Jonathan Thompson making plays again.
Right.
And he flashed in spring when I saw him at the practices I was at. I think he's going to be a big time player. You still have David Jones in that room. Mm-hmm. Sincere Lewis is injured right now, but he'll be back. I'm not freaked out over linebacker depth because I just think linebacker is going to be something different than what this defense has kind of ever really seen. And then Jaheim probably would have slotted in. Aaron mentioned last night, like on the roster, they had him listed at outside linebacker. He probably would have been slated into that. I guess they call it the dog
Yeah.
It used to be the jack position, like called the jack position when Fickle
Right.
first got here. Stand up, rush end, like linebacker type. It's really what Maje was
Mhm.
in a lot of ways. He played with his hand in the dirt more often than standing up, but I don't know that. I guess just because of like the way the depth chart is, you're okay. I think like Jamal Williams flashed
Man,
Saturday.
he looked good. He looked really good.
Tyler Gillison's a guy that they like in that position. I mean, I don't know that necessarily you're gonna be forced to backfill to replace Jaheim, but that's not to say they might not go get another linebacker just to add to the overall depth of the group. But I don't think it's not like wide receiver where we're like they have to get help at wide receiver.
Yeah, I agree. Ryan, what do you think when you saw Jaheim enter the portal? I mean, he had a great second half of the year last year. Looked like he was starting to blossom, and had a couple of really strong games. And Chad, you said it last night, a super quiet 70 tackle season. And I mean, it was looked like he was going to have a big piece on the roster. What do you think when you saw that news?
I was very surprised. I haven't took the time to reach out to him yet. I just kind of wanted to let him, go through this hectic couple days or week or however long he normally goes. But I was shocked because I don't know if I know he was hurt. I don't know if they thought that he was just going to get passed up on. They didn't want to take their time on him. And if that was the case, I think that's a terrible idea by this new staff.
I don't think that was it. I think this is a Jaheim decision.
I don't know. Maybe there's some teams reaching out to him, but maybe he didn't want to play DN type. Maybe he wanted to play linebacker because that's what he's been learning how to play the past 3 years now. So I think I don't know. Maybe he wanted to do linebacker. They wanted him on the edge,
right?
And they
maybe
said,
just looked at the numbers and said, you know.
It's crazy because I mean that's
missing string is hard, man.
Yeah, that's why I was saying like being hurt and kind of like counting him out of being that inside linebacker. Be like, all right, let's just keep him on the edge then, and maybe he's like, oh, I don't like that. That's not me. That's not what I want to do. I think that's true because I think Jaheim is so strong, so good at. I think his pass rush ability is so much better from a linebacker position than having to be at a D line position. Even though you're standing up, I think Jaheim does so much better, like coming downhill and being able to run straight at an O lineman or a running back. He always just excelled so much better in those roles. But like you said, like that's a lot of production. I mean, reps are reps, tackles are tackles, and they're when it's in practice, it's one thing, but Jaheim is doing it in the game. So that's a hole we got to fill. But I think, Chad, you were speaking on how there are guys there that can do the role. So I don't know. I was shocked. I think I would love to have him in a Bearcat uniform. Great kid. I mean, great teammate. I love playing with him. So I was shocked. I was so excited for him. He's an NFL caliber player. And I was I was looking forward to watching him play and ball out. He was like my I think I mentioned it.
Yeah, he was your pick. Yeah,
he was my pick for like
breakout player.
Break out the portal, man. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna have a long list after him. I imagine some heavy hitters on that list too. But yeah,
wish him the best though.
Right. That just means
he's got the talent to play in the NFL. So I hope that works out for him.
I agree. So Greshik and Dorian Jones, man, it's their time now. Dingle as well. Deshaun Pace is an absolute animal. Back to being that animal. Had a blocked field goal on Saturday, flying around, looking like he's ready to be a leader on the defense. Defensive back as well. Chad, you weren't lying about. I'm going to poke fun because you said Jordan Taylor a lot.
Yeah, DJ Taylor, Jordan Young,
mixing the two. Yeah. But hey, you can do that because both of them look great. DJ Taylor was putting a lot of hits on Jordan Young looks like a stud. Potential lockdown corner on the boundary side. He definitely was making some plays. Had a huge crack on Corey Kiner, the first monster hit of the game on Saturday. And then, Sammy Anderson continues filling in. Taj Ward getting some play at safety. Brian Threat's doing his thing. Looks like the DBs, kind of a mix of them. Isaiah Cox had a huge hit. Sterling Burkhalter. But the wild thing is these DBs put these hits on the wide receiver, and the receivers held on to the ball each time. It was unbelievable. Burkhalter had his helmet popped off, still held on to the football.
I think that was my favorite thing that Keegan said in his article was another or maybe he tweeted it or something, like another staff and still helmets flying off. You just can't fix this.
Right.
Inevitable.
Figure it out.
My favorite the DBs, it's making me, how good the DBs are doing. I'm trying to keep in perspective because, we don't have anybody. Not that our guys aren't good, but like the depth in the wide receiver room is so low. It's not like we had guys like Ahmad, Kobe, Brian Cook going up against like Alec Pierce and Tyler, like NFL level. So I think you're not really going to know what we have from both rooms until week 1.
Yeah.
Obviously, guys will make plays and stuff, but unless we like fill out that wide receiver room with Power 5 caliber receivers, we aren't going to really get the test of that. They got the names, they got guys who've played, but it'll be
bright lights. Yeah,
we gotta wait and see.
When you line up against those, what is it? The Admirals or the Colonials, or the Eastern Kentucky Colonels, or whatever it is.
All I'm saying is sometimes you got to remember that a really good player, if he's going up against a guy like me who's not going to press his shit and make him have to work and to make a play, the receivers might be out there holding their own, doing their job, but if they're not pressing these guys and challenging them, these guys are going to look like the best thing since sliced bread. So I don't want to be negative, but sometimes got to drop some perspective.
I hear you. I completely hear you. Anything else on DBs as a whole, or you guys want to throw out
James Camden, Walk On Nation?
There you go. Okay, Ryan, give us a breakdown of James Camden. He's probably your surprise of the spring, correct?
Yeah, he was going to be my superlative on defense. That was my guy. I had to rep Walk On Nation. Just James Camden is just a tough ass kid. Hits hard, loves contact, plays hard every snap. And, sometimes a lot of the knocks with the walk-ons is they do that. They play hard. They do this, but they just don't make any plays. And you see James, proving that wrong. And, that's huge because that's, it just makes me so proud because just seeing him come in and, talking with him, working with him, helping him through the process of being a walk-on and see him out there just making all these plays and just being a damn good football player. I love seeing that shit. I'm so happy for him, and I hope, if anything, they reward him with 3, hopefully 4 special teams units if he keeps doing what he's doing. And shit, I mean, you never know. You can get some reps out there on out at safety, and I know that's what he's working towards because he's definitely showing he belongs. He could go out there and give a guys a breather or if someone goes down. Yeah. They got him at linebacker fully?
Yeah. I mean, he had a sack on Brady Drogosh.
Is that when did they start doing that?
Chad, was he playing linebacker when you were at the practices?
Yeah, he got moved up to linebacker pretty much early in the spring.
Oh, I didn't.
Because it took me a minute to figure out. He bulked up.
He looks thick. I was like,
dude, he was
210. He was 210 as a safety, and they always wanted him to lose a couple pounds. And he's like, I just can't do it. So we always joke that he just play linebacker then, man. We need some guys to take my spot, take a bunch of the walk-on guys who are leaving. So he's fucking doing that and then some. So that makes me even happier. He's an LB. I like that.
There you go.
Good for the boy.
Now you can call him and start mentoring him.
It's been a while, dude. I need to get back in and study the game, man. I don't know how much mentoring I could do. Just say, run hard, hit hard. Run hard, hit hard. That's about all I
Play
can say.
aggressive. Play aggressive.
Be like my daughter's 7th grade volleyball coach that would just stand there and go, hit it, girls.
Yeah.
Pump, set, spike.
No, she didn't. Just hit it. They're losing, 17 to 7. Hit it, girls.
Over the net.
Over the net, please.
I hated that woman.
Well, winning is winning, Chad, and that's what they're doing. Who you got, Chad? Your offense and defensive kind of players of the spring, if you will.
Defense is easy.
Yeah.
Jordan Young.
Oh, didn't take mine. I like it.
Jordan Young was
Yeah.
incredible the entire spring. Like, had a pick every day, and different kinds of picks, jumping routes, making plays, high pointing balls, like just taking away good throws, just showing good technique. Good. Boy, I'm trying to do a podcast. I'm podcasting.
Don't
Can
you
hold it for a
understand?
minute? Can you hold it for a minute? He was so solid.
Yeah.
Like I think there were a couple times where D. Wiggins got him. I don't remember anybody else really getting him. He is not Sauce. He's not that long, rangy, 6'3", like go gadget arms.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a reason that kid was in a decent spot on the depth chart at Florida. If you remember when he left, the Florida people were like, he was going to start. He was going to play.
Right.
And I mean, he has been an instant impact, and you feel much better. Look, we saw what having a shutdown corner did for a defense. Yep. Now that defense, of course, had 7 other guys that played in the NFL. Yes, that helps too. But when you have a guy that can control one side, the short side of the field,
mm-hmm.
It's such a massive, massive lift to everything. And Jordan Young is different. Like that's the best way I can put it. He put it on display every practice I was at. I don't know what he did specifically on Saturday. I'm guessing there weren't many of the plays that were made where number 1 was in the vicinity.
2 pass breakups and about 3 very hard hits. So.
Yeah, like I'm really, really like he's going to be a rock solid foundation piece for this defense. Big time. He's big time.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Offensively, who you got?
That's a tough one. I'll stick with my guy. I'm a loyal one. I rode the Tyler Scott train until Tyler Scott became a star.
New train.
I've been on this train. I thought he deserved a lot more carries last year.
Yeah.
I'm a Miles Montgomery guy, man.
Okay.
I think in this outside zone, he is a home run hitter. I think he can be explosive. I think he can get you 5, 6, 7 yards a pop as he gets to run downhill and kind of pick his spots and pick his lanes. The running backs were even. I don't think any of the running backs really had massive separation.
Yeah.
But for me, I think Miles Montgomery is a guy that just can be a star type, back in an outside zone system. So I'll go with him. It's just so tough on offense. Like the tight ends came on later in the camp. Yeah. Shaman and Peyton Singletary had, each day towards the end of camp, their stock was rising. D. Wiggins was hurt on and off.
Yeah.
So I'll go Miles. Montgomery.
Okay, Aaron. Well, first off, Aaron, you're muted.
You got to unmute. Yeah, you got to unmute.
But Chad, kind of piggybacking on your Miles, what Satterfield said after the game about what the offense is designed to do is get you to the safety.
Right.
And then
And
he
that's
said
minus Montgomery.
yeah, he said the special ones are the ones that can make the safety miss.
Yeah.
And so we've seen Miles do that before with he had a monster run against, sure it was Kennesaw State, but
Right.
he still showcased the potential of what he can do. So, Aaron, go ahead.
I'm gonna go off the beaten path a little bit.
I like it.
Even though it's a name that we're all very familiar with, I think offensively, the player of the spring for me was Ben Bryant.
Okay.
And I say that because he was an afterthought. You bring in Emory Jones.
We thought he was going to be out the whole spring.
I know.
Yeah.
And he's beating the odds as far as recovery goes. He is taking snaps in pretty much every scenario before Emory Jones. He is excelling on the field, even with admittedly not being 100%. And he has made this a battle where we weren't sure that it was even going to be a battle between Ben Bryant and Emory Jones, but maybe more Evan Prater and Emory Jones. Or Emory just runs away with it. I mean, and so all of a sudden you have a quarterback battle where, I don't know, a month ago, maybe we didn't think there was going to be a quarterback battle.
Right.
So kudos to Ben Bryant for just fighting his ass off to be a Bearcat every single day, man.
Yeah.
Kelly Brendel thought Ben Bryant was a tough motherfucker.
There you go.
Like, that dude does not go down easy. Like, he's been counted out. Most people didn't think he was going to be, Evan was going to easily win the starting quarterback job last year. Ben breaks his foot. There's no way he's a factor in this quarterback competition because everything's already going to be decided by the time he's healthy. By the time he gets back, they're already going to.
Has there been another Bearcat who has fought their ass off every single day of being a Bearcat more so than Ben Bryant?
He's up there. I'm sure there is, but Ben is right up there.
Because he fought Dez and lost.
Yeah.
He to the point where he even left. He came back and he's always fighting for his job. He fought Ben or Evan rather the entire season, even against the fans.
He's more resilient than the blades of a ceiling fan.
He's a cockroach. He doesn't go away. It's just.
Are we taking away the cockroach label from Jarrell White and giving it to Ben Bryant?
Maybe.
I'm just saying. Just kudos to Ben Bryant for doing the unthinkable and making a quarterback battle where we didn't think there was going to be one. Defensively, I guess I'm going to say Dorian Jones because I don't think there's been a practice where Dorian Jones isn't mentioned. He comes with this Louisville group. Obviously good enough that they wanted to bring him and not just bring him, but bring him as a leader of their defense. And so I'm excited to see more from Dorian Jones. I'm excited to see him at higher ground where he can, probably play a little bit more than what we saw him in the spring game and, actually maybe lay somebody out. So I don't know. I don't think that Chad's been to a practice. I don't think Justin's been to a practice where they don't mention who Dorian Jones is on the field and the presence that he brings, if not actual physically. So I'm excited.
The other thing I'll add to that, Aaron, to bolster your
argument.
He was so good in the first half of practice that I think they had to adjust to him to a point that it allowed Jack Dingle to have a really, really strong second half of camp. And that's part of, Ryan will attest to this, like the impact guys on defense truly are the guys that make the other team like change what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I thought Dorian Jones did that. And then that provided Jack Dingle the opportunity to really start to come on strong. And now you got both of those middle guys playing with a lot of confidence. So a great job by Dorian Jones, not just producing, but coming in and being able to be that next wave that's like, look, this is the system. This is what I know. Like, I know Coach Brown and what he wants and what he expects. and kind of able to shed that knowledge to everybody else. So that's a good pick, Aaron. I like it.
Chad, you saw last year when teams found out that Ivan Pace is an NFL player, they started setting up game plans to take him out that allowed Jaheim to step up and have his good second half of the year. So no doubt. Ryan, give us your offense. You gave us James Camden, who man, I tell you what, he makes plays. He really does. It's kind of nuts. But who you got offensively?
Barry Jackson.
Oh, baby.
Slot receiver, young guy, stepped up. A lot of buzz about him on the team. Guys saying that he had a really good spring. Every time I was asking about playmakers on offense, guys would just start chirping up about Barry. I think they're just really impressed with his ability, his playmaking. Yeah, it gets open, and he's young, man. And
true freshman.
Yeah. So we need guys in the slot. We've had a lot of guys lately. We had a lot of guys on the edges making a lot of plays for us the last couple of years. So maybe we could get some good slot play out of Barry Jackson. Maybe not a ton this year, but showing some good promise for the future. So I just love when young guys step up, especially in the spring, because it's hard, man. People don't realize how hard it is to be a young guy and to go out there and spring ball, learn it all, and not only learning it but making plays against the too deep. So
it's like trying to get home from Lubbock on a Tuesday night. It's hard.
No, right. But no, Barry Jackson. A lot of remember Will Pauling when we were talking about how he's out there making plays, really young. He caught the final touchdown in the spring game of his true freshman season.
I remember that bullshit.
Right. Game's over. Offense.
It's over now. Offense.
But that play from Brady Drogosh to Barry Jackson was just beautiful. I'm sure the highlight's out there somewhere. I saw it tweeted by someone, but just a good place ball by Brady, a good catch by Barry Jackson, and they even had a couple plays where I mentioned the option run with the quarterbacks where Barry would go in motion or he would come in and all of a sudden it's a quick option and Barry gets the pitch from yard over there, dog. The Bear gets the pitch from the quarterback and cuts it upfield. So it's a lot of wrinkles, and Barry Jackson definitely turned heads. I'll go quick with mine because you guys were did a good job taking it. Peyton Singletary, Chad, you kind of mentioned him, but if he could step up and be another option on the tight end side, then that's only a plethora, only a positive note for the offense. Defensively, Sean Pace, I think he's obviously got plenty of recognition throughout.
I'm going to have.
Okay. Hopefully the dog's all right. But anyway, Deshaun Pace, just dominant. He's obviously going to have a lot of fun in that position, kind of catered to making plays. And he was flying all over the field on Saturday. A couple tackle for losses, couple of really, really strong, just in coverage, coming down, getting the rusher, kind of what we saw his sophomore year. So it'll be fun to see his development at the new spot. Surprises, I'm just going to wrap it up. We'll just go real quick with surprises. Jamal Williams, man, Chad already mentioned him a little bit. He kind of flashed a lot throughout spring. Jamal Williams looks like he is primed to take a big step. Aaron, you got any surprise players, youngsters, or anything of that sort?
I mean, obviously, we already talked about Camden,
right?
But I'll say CJ Doggett, I think, was a surprise running with. He was getting a little bit of shine with the twos.
Yep.
I know he told me after the game, I was talking with him, and he said he's even got a little bit of runs with the ones at times during some of the practices. So good on him. Kid looks far different than when he got to Cincinnati just a year ago. So I'm real happy to see the progression that CJ Doggett's made.
Awesome. Royer, you running with your Camden pick? And
Camden's my surprise, but I'm also going to kind of piggyback off Chad with the Ben Bryant. Just the health, the way to get back, and then to just stick his nose right in there and just keep battling. I just, back against the wall again. I always got my faith in him, but to see him go in there and do it this quickly off that foot surgery, that was my biggest surprise.
Okay. I'll also give a hat tip to Leslie Ando and Jair Thomas. Obviously, if a bunch of additions are made in the wide receiver room, we'll see what happens with both of them. But I thought, when they needed numbers, they both stepped up and they were readily available and had some good catches, good plays on Saturday. So that's that. Unless Chad's probably handling business, getting things all situated. So I guess we can timestamp this one, Aaron. And good wrap on football. So Ryan, as Aaron's getting this timestamp ready, what is the move now for everyone? Is it kind of a you wait a while and then workouts fire back up for the summer and something along those lines, or kind of what's the steps after spring practice is done?
We normally got like 5 days off, but these coaches, they're giving them 3.5 weeks off. That's what the guys told me. They were surprised. To be honest with you, we all kind of thought it was a terrible idea, but that's what's going on. 3.5 weeks off, and then that'll put them right around. What is that? Like after the first week of May, and then they'll just be lifting and training and getting ready for fall camp, getting some drills going and shit. The more you progress through the summer.
There you go, locked and loaded. Aaron, you got that timestamp ready?
Yeah. The timestamp is brought to you by Quick Paper Supply. Quick Paper Supply is one of the largest minority-owned companies in the city. Support your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for products like cups, styrofoam containers, napkins, etc. For all of your non-food products, call Nick at 513-470-2029. Reference Bearcats and get 20% off your first month of purchases.
There you go. So much like Jaheim Thomas hopped in the portal, the portal's back open, and players, Cincinnati's already reaching out to a handful of players, but also some high school recruits are making their decisions on top of everything going on as well. One interesting thing as far as the portal goes, I don't know, did you guys see what the SEC has put in when it comes to the transfer portal, where if you put your name in during the first transfer portal window that opens up in January, you can transfer to another SEC school. But if you put your name in on the second window, you cannot transfer inside of the SEC. You have to go out of conference for your destination.
Now, is that on the schools to uphold, or is that actually like written in the SEC bylaws? Because
I think it's the SEC bylaws.
Is it just all on a handshake that they're all going to uphold this rule?
I saw it right before we hopped on, and it was on the ever beautiful College Football Inquirer podcast. I listened to it a little bit, not in depth, but it does say in this second transfer portal window you cannot go to another SEC school. So I imagine it's coming from the head man himself, which I think is an interesting tactic, especially because you're going to lose a fair amount of talent out of your conference with players making a move that way.
Yeah, I don't know. The SEC is weird. They do things their own way anyway. So
yeah,
let's just have a non-conference game in week 12. No big deal.
Yeah, just kind of a warmer up or before the before the final stretch.
That get right game at the end of the season.
Yeah. We just barely beat Tennessee. Let's go beat Middle Tennessee of Eastern Colony.
Alcorn State.
Domination.
R.I.P. Steve McNair.
Yeah. But Chad, did you see that about the SEC?
I did not. No.
So if you enter the first transfer,
I heard you. I have my headphones on.
Yeah. Do you think that's something that other leagues will adopt? I guess it might, in essence, lessen more people entering the portal because they can't really stay with familiarities or, other schools that have kind of recruited them. I just thought that was kind of an interesting decision as everyone tries to figure out the portal itself. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Something to watch, something to track. But 2 new recruits, both committed yesterday. And man, I tell you what, this recruiting staff, they just hop on there. If you know, and just posted all these different gifts and everything. I think it's hilarious and I love it. The first one was, of course, tight end Gavin Grover, 6'6", 220 on his profile, high 3-star, another Ohio native, keeping the state of Cincinnati on lock. And then later on in the day yesterday, Dakari Anderson from the talent-rich state of Georgia commits as well. Super speedy wide receiver.
But we talked to Tyler Scott about running sub 11, like breaking into the 10s. This kid ran a 10.71 as a sophomore in high school. That's fast.
Yeah. You watch his tape, and it's a lot of those where he catches it and then just
that's Brendel fast, baby.
That's significantly faster than Brendel fast. Brendel was stuck at 11 flat, 11-1 for most of his high school career.
You might have him in the first split, though.
I might. I was fast. Well, but he's short, so he's probably fast early too. That's what us short guys. We had a lot of success in the 60, like indoor track. You only do the 60,
right? I
was a monster in the 60. The 100, those last 40 yards with my little legs looking like the Roadrunner. I had a lot of those long striders catch me at the end. They got up to top speed a lot later than I did.
There we go. Anything else on these two that any of you guys have read up or watched tape or anything?
Obviously. I mean, Grover looks like the prototype Cincinnati 6'5", 6'6", big physical guy, can play inline, can make plays as a pass catcher. Looks like a really solid tight end prospect for an offense that likes to use the tight end.
Right.
That's going to be an important spot. So landing a tight end in this class where you had 2 really, really good tight ends slip away last year after the coaching change.
Yep.
Going out and getting one early signifies that it's an important spot. And look, you don't want to take a whole lot of 5'8" guys at receiver on your team. But I do think like this is a group that they're gonna use the gadget plays. They're gonna use jet sweeps. They're gonna use misdirection. They're gonna try to get the ball to playmakers in space in this outside zone scheme. You run direction, you get the defense flowing one way, you hit it to a home run hitter on the other side. I think there is a need for some of those guys. Barry Jackson looks like one.
Yeah.
Hopefully you got another one yesterday.
You also only have 2 slot guys on your entire roster right now. So
yeah. Paul, will this offense play a lot of 12? That's a tricky question. Because I do think they'll play with a tight end and an H-back. We've seen like Caleb Schmitz has been more of an H-back.
Right.
Where he's at fullback some. He's kind of split like in that that pistol formation where you've got one guy next to the quarterback and then the running back behind him that you can kind of motion. I don't think you'll see much traditional 12, but I think you could see a good deal of 2 tight end types on the field, just not traditionally what you'd expect from 12 personnel. The old regime never played with an H-back, Paul. Like very, very, very rarely did. They'd have an inline tight end and a Josh split out in that K position. They very rarely were super creative with like moving that inline tight end to more of a fullback or H-back role. I mean, Ryan can correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys didn't use an H-back hardly ever.
Yeah, you're right. We did not.
What
I mean, I love you, Paul, but it just that they weren't an H-back offense. When there was 12, it was a traditional 12. There were 2 tight ends on the field, one in an inline role, one, disconnected and more of a receiver type thing. Look, yeah, that's you're right. That's classic 12, Paul, but that's not what this staff is going to be running. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They don't run classic 12. There might be 2 tight ends on the field, but one's going to be an H-back or a fullback, like more a fullback. I saw a lot more fullback than I've seen in 16 years covering UC in this camp. So it's different. I promise.
A couple fun facts about Gavin Grover. Plays basketball, excels in basketball, also excel in men's volleyball. Ryan, can you tell me another former Bearcat that excelled in men's volleyball in high school?
I believe the son of a great Northwestern volleyball player.
Yes. There you go. The man, the myth, the legend.
Not a great Northwestern football player.
No, washed. Just got hurt way too much.
Don't do Greg like that. Don't do Greg.
Greg was too busy playing the guitar. Listening to
I called him. We talked the other day, and he was like, "I'm getting ready to go into band practice."
I know.
I was like, "Greg, what are we doing? What are we doing?"
His wife posted on Instagram that they were doing a show on the weekend. I was making.
Oh hell yeah! Okay, That's a local establishment. Come check us out.
I think they're at the United Center doing a sold-out show.
Wow.
It kind of flew under the radar.
Good for him. Wow. Congrats.
Oh, boy.
That is Alec Pierce, if you can't put 2 and 2 together. But yeah, so very athletic tight end on top of being huge, 6'6", 220. And then, of course, just his quarterback, Chad, I don't know how much the staff is going after him, but Ethan Grunkemeyer holds a Cincinnati offer.
He's one of their priority targets at quarterback.
There you go. So that would imagine that would be a bit of a.
I would think we're going into a really important cycle for quarterback. I think it opens this week, but I think you'll see UC start going out next week. This is when Pete Thomas will get to really go out and try to zero in on his quarterback.
Right.
I think you'll see Grunkemeyer be one of those, along with backwards James Jones.
Okay. Thank you.
Samaj.
There you go.
When do we decide Samaj was a name? Backwards James.
I don't think that was up to anyone to decide. The parents decided it.
I don't want to think about the one Samaj I'm thinking of.
But there's a lot of them. Like it's a common name now. Samaj.
The one I'm thinking of, pretty talented basketball player. I don't
talk about that.
Think about that guy. But yeah, and then of course
you're muted, Ryan.
You're muted.
Samaj P. Ryan.
Hey baby, there you go. There's another.
Add another letter on there.
E. James.
I mean, at least they got creative with backwards James.
That's fine. I like that. That's fine.
And then, of course, Kari Anderson, speed, so real fast. All right, little time.
And there's more.
There's more.
There's more coming.
Follow the staff on Twitter; they'll let you know.
It's gonna be a busy week. I'm just gonna tell you that it's gonna be a busy week.
So I know you guys were asking Ryan about how much time that they were taking off with the 3.5 weeks that they were taking off after the spring game and all of that. Do you think that has to do with not so much as giving the guys a break, but so the staff has time to recruit the portal and to recruit kids right now?
I think it's part of it. I think things are changing. Like normally, I did talk to somebody about this today. In the old calendar, the way things used to work, staffs would hit the road like today. Like it's time to be on the road. I do think there is a window now where they have to kind of figure out exactly who's staying, who's going, who are we prioritizing, who do we need to get to campus for visits, and like structurally figuring out what the next couple of weeks looks like.
And maybe if you had more, confidence in the way that the roster was structured currently, then maybe you don't take 3.5 weeks. But as the roster currently is, I think you have to prioritize hitting the portal and recruiting hard, as opposed
Yeah, I
to
think what Ryan would tell you is a lot of what would be going on right now is just in the weight room.
Right.
My guess would be one, they do want to figure out like where are we specifically at before we really bring these guys back here, and two, I do think there is a reality to there has been a lot asked of these guys since Luke Fickell left and Scott Satterfield was hired.
Sure.
And you had a lot to adjust to. There was a lot. It was very demanding in terms of figuring out what was next, adjusting to a new strength staff. Like, you can do things a little bit different when there's 6 years of continuity. I think it might just be a situation of like, let's give these guys a mental break for a couple weeks, because they are young dudes. They're not kids, but they are young dudes, and their brains have been through a shit ton of stuff since, the middle of December to now.
It's a fair point. I like your take on the kind of the staff trying to like root itself in and give themselves time to kind of digest spring, digest where they're at with their players, go recruit, all that stuff. So I just think I don't know, 3.5 seems a little long to me. I think,
but correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan. Most of these guys will be on campus because school's not over yet. They'll be in the weight room every day.
Yeah, they'll be doing their shit, but it's just like I was just kind of like the principle of it, like slated out that long. Like, guys are going to be doing stuff and doing their extra stuff, but I was just a little shocked to hear something that long. I thought it was a little bit overkill, but it's up to the players to make of it what they will. And I think we got a good core of guys that'll take care of business. I just don't know much about the coaches though, so we have to see.
Maybe a test, maybe a little test. Let's see what these guys are really all about.
Yeah, let's see.
We'll give them that 3.5 week window, and we'll see if they're in here in a week.
Yeah, the dudes will be in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say we saw the defensive line pass that test real quickly in the winter.
Yeah,
sticking around and getting their workouts in, but a lot happening. Obviously, in essence, it's truly building a roster, building a culture and establishment, because this first year, it has a lot to do with what you can establish and get going as a staff, and what you look at for your team going forward. So an important next month, I would say, and then of course we'll dive more into off-season workouts and everything. Hopefully, get Nico back on the pod and keep it rolling with football. Anything else on the old pigskin? Are we ready to dive into basketball real fast and then the mailbag? No,
go ahead.
All good. All right,
just me and you here, just hanging out.
I think we have Chad. He's not muted, so he's around. But
I'm right here.
Quick paper supply timestamp real fast.
I'll time start. I've got it ready. Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. Quick Paper services over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next day deliveries, providing a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick at 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Boom.
Hooray.
Thank you. Basketball. Jameel Reynolds, official. I think it was, the Jeremiah Davenport commitment to Arkansas happened since we last talked. Micah Adams-Woods officially coming back for his final season next year. A new name to track. A lot going on the basketball side of things. Chad, can we touch on Estrada right now? Are you trying to point people to the board, or kind of what are you hearing as far as Aaron Estrada goes?
I don't think it's great right now. I mean, he took a visit to Alabama this weekend. Things seem to be trending in that direction. We'll see if they can fight it off. I think if I was wagering, if I was using Betfred, promo code Bearcat, go to betfred.com or go to the app and sign up, and you could use promo code Bearcats.
Bearcat singular.
Bearcat singular. I would say Alabama. I know, Tiger. I know it's frustrating. Yeah, people are frustrated. They are. They really are. So that's kind of where I think things are at with him. No surprise. There's still a lot of names that are going to enter the portal between now and May 15th when the portal for basketball closes. Like, everybody needs to. I know, like, look, Estrada would have been a great fit, and they fought like hell for him. Mm-hmm. And if that doesn't go in their direction, trust the staff to. I mean, they got a visit, and got into the top 2 or 3 for a number 6 player, like the number 6 player in the portal, according to 24/7.
Right.
Like, have some. I don't know. The negativity, man. I'm having such a hard time with it because I'm going through a lot, and listening to people complain because they didn't get their way with the transfer portal target. I have very little patience and tolerance for it right now. So I'm probably not a good person to have in this conversation.
Just a little perspective. Kalu Zikbe was the first.
I did, but
was the first transfer edition last year that happened on April 15th. Rob Finney committed on April 20th. And Landers Nali committed on April 27th of last year. So, there's still a lot of moving pieces. No roster is complete. Even Arkansas is adding more players when they don't have roster spots. So, things are just still forever changing each day. But just a little perspective. There's obviously time still. As Chad mentioned, there's a long time to even enter your name into the portal. So that this is an ever-flowing experiment, if you will. Chad has stepped away, so I want to get the thumbs up before we can discuss the new name that has entered the mix on the board, coming out of that the place where I call home. But I guess we'll wait for the thumbs up from him. But Aaron, your thoughts on Jamil making it official and kind of the Aaron Estrada news as well?
No, Jamil making it official, I think, is a good sign. I know people started to get excited because Musise was mentioned as having a Zoom call with Cincinnati, and he was rated as a top 10 center in the transfer portal, whereas Jamil Reynolds was not in at least one of the graphics that I saw on Twitter. Musise was mentioned, Jamil Reynolds was not. That said, it depends on what you're looking for, right? If you're looking for a rim protector, sure, you'd love to have Musise. If you're looking for a guy who can actually get you buckets, I think you're probably looking for a guy more like Jamil Reynolds. I think that this team needs guys who can make buckets. And I think that if you're able to get Jamil Reynolds to lose, 25 pounds, then you might be looking at a guy who, by the way, averaged a block a game and did pretty well on the boards. I think Jamil Reynolds can potentially be a rim protector. So I don't know that the sky is falling because we got one who was not rated in the top 10 and didn't get a guy who was rated in the top 10. But I'm happy with him signing, and I think that it was an important signing for this team.
I agree. Chad, can we talk about the Bulldog? Is that good? Or whatever. I mean, it's on the board. I want to talk.
Go ahead. Look, I'm a single dad now. Like, there's going to be times that I'm going to be muted and my camera's going to be off, and I'm trying to take care of a dog, and I got a 12-year-old that wants me to take pictures of her new hair color because she got her hair done today so that she can send them to her aunt. Yeah, you can talk about the Bulldog.
Tell her hair looked better in the sunlight. Nighttime lighting's not great for color.
Oh, there's
my sister, the hairdresser. It doesn't matter.
You're in a studio. Like the lighting is here for a reason. It's like mid-afternoon in my office right now.
It's not the same.
What
you got on the
Bulldog,
Brent?
Chad? You don't understand.
Royer, do you want to move in? I got an extra room. We can be my two dads.
Man, I don't know if I'm ready for the dad life yet. Come on, I look that old?
No, I do. Look at I could put.
So you need a little.
I could put a whole trip to Kroger in the bags under these eyes right now.
So you're looking for a little offset. Get a little youth back in the house.
Yeah, something.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if you'll be able to handle the youth, dude. I think you're gonna go crazy. Too many Miller Lights down the gullet for us.
I can handle that part's not a problem for me.
Okay, we're saving some of those for the weekend.
What you got on the Bulldog, Brent?
So what is it? Is it Seamus or Simus, we think?
Seamus.
Seamus? Okay.
I made that up. I don't know.
I mean, it works. Seamus, Simus, Seamus, Lukosius, Butler Bulldog, known Xavier killer. He had a couple big games against that dirty team from Norwood, but he's a guy. He is a dude. Can score, can distribute. He's got some good game to him. Chad mentioned on the board, kind of reminds you a little bit of Jaime Jaquez out there at UCLA. I agree. When attacking the basket downhill, he's got a lot of crafty moves that look like a Jaime Jaquez. I think more of a 3-point shooter than Jaime was, and less of a rebounder that Jaime was. So that's the trade-off there. But yeah, an exciting player. He's, talks are that the staff's involved there, and
is he good enough to make Xavier players want to break a water fountain at UC though?
Yeah, maybe. I'd say possibly. If you frustrate them enough and he buries another like third or fourth three, then yeah, sure. I'd say so. What do you think?
Okay. I mean, isn't that what happened with Butler and Xavier, right?
I'm not privy to the story.
It was like a decade ago. Yeah, Xavier got mad. They lost to Butler. They broke their water fountain.
Oh, at Hinkle?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of remember the story now. But yeah, I mean, his tape is fun to watch. Coach's son, so has a lot of basketball IQ to him. Definitely looks the part out there.
I think the thing I think to be excited about is just kind of the versatility. He can play the 3 or the 4 as an actual combo forward. There are a lot of guys that it's said that they can do both of those things, right. But he can defend both positions. He can play both positions on offense. Yeah. So it would give you some versatility.
Is that a knock on anybody who may or may not be with the team at this point?
No.
Okay.
That's not Jeremiah Davenport could never play the 3. That's why he never played the 3. Okay. That's not. I mean, look, but there were fans that were like, "Why didn't UC play Gary Clark at the 3?" Because you're giving away the advantage of why Gary Clark was good was because 4s couldn't guard him. If you put him at the 3, guys with quickness and length had a better chance of guarding Gary Clark than they did if you played the 4. Right. This is a guy that can actually handle the ball, pass, shoot, play as a screener, play off of screens. I think this is an important one. He's from my understanding, he's at BYU now, or he's going there tonight. They might start the visit in the morning. That's kind of been the new thing on visits, right. Is they fly guys in the night before. The visit starts in the morning, and then they're there for the next 2 days. So I mean, we'll see. He's supposed to get to Cincinnati Thursday night, which tells me his visit would probably start Friday. Mm-hmm. Maybe they do dinner Thursday night. I don't know, because it's also a open evaluation weekend. It's an AAU weekend as well. Right. So I don't know the specifics of that yet. I'm working on that, but I know he's supposed to get here Thursday at some point in time. So stay tuned for details on that. I think this is one that I'm not going to say it's more important than Estrada was, but I think it's just as important because it gives you that bigger wing that can hit shots, that can pass, that can do a little bit of everything and be a Big 12 level starter. He was a Big East level starter and had a lot of success as a Big East level starter. That's an important guy for this program to be able to add in this transfer portal window. They believe Reynolds at 260 pounds, 255 pounds is a Big 12 level starter. If you add this, now you've added two between the 3, 4, 5 positions. You've added two guys that you feel are starters at the Big 12 level. Then you would still need to go out and get a scorer, a guard. You know, a guy that can put the ball on the deck and create space and make shots. But if you get two of those three already in the fold, you feel pretty good about having a whole summer to find that third guy.
Yeah. I mean, Lukosius' tape is fun to watch. It's very European. It's you know, he's not going to jump out of the gym and wow you with that type of athleticism, but
he can play.
He's got that basketball athleticism where he's in the right spots, you know, and kind of just watch his tape. It's fun.
You know, it's interesting because I think they passed on Rink Mast.
Yeah. Because
he was kind of a 4-5 combination of that.
Right.
I think they were looking for more of a 3-4 combination of that. Like the guy with the skill.
Yep. Yeah. And
some toughness.
He had a huge step from his freshman to sophomore year at Butler too.
So also could be in line for another big jump.
Yeah, exactly.
As a junior, yeah.
By the way, the Big East did win the national championship this year, so I don't know that you can say Big East versus Big 12 ready is much of a difference at this point.
Well, UConn was Big 12 ready. I don't know that there were many other teams in the Big East that were. So I'd add that caveat. There weren't a lot of Adama Sonogos in the Big East, other than
Xavier did all right this year.
Okay, good for them.
Go hop on their podcast and talk about it.
I'm just saying, man.
I'm joking.
You want me to call Rick and Paul Fritchner for you? We can get you in on their network.
Good on that.
Sayonara.
My only point is Big East versus Big 12. I wasn't even trying to bring them up, but UConn was different. Well, there were two teams in.
Talk about Creighton instead. There you go. But yeah, it'll be fun to see how that visit goes. Obviously, a guy that would add a fun wrinkle to the team and definitely play at a high level as well. So, yeah, anything more basketball wise, obviously it changes every single day. So continue to track, continue to watch. But if no one else has anything, we can timestamp and BBP mailbag it up.
Quick Paper Supply provides mostly disposable restaurant supplies, so products like to-go containers, cups, pizza boxes, to-go bags, can liners, napkins, etc. They've been open since 2009 and are one of the largest minority-owned companies in the city. Call Nick, 513-470-2029, and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
There you go. Bada bing.
I don't know what time our last timestamp was. We'll call it 15.
There you go.
Filibuster for me, Brent.
What's that?
Filibuster for me.
All righty. Hey, Ryan, Mondays, they're tough, aren't they? How was your Monday at work today? Not too bad?
It was good. I got in there around 7:30, so I got up a little earlier, and day went by pretty quick. Got some not so easy tasks to take care of. So I'm not looking forward to that, but I don't know. Monday is kind of like a hectic day for me because I go to work, get home, try to work out, and then by the time I shower and eat dinner, like I'm right into this. So like my
Yeah.
day is basically nonstop.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But you guys are a good break from the madness.
It's a good thing. It's funny because it's have you gotten to the point where you get the Sunday scaries? Where it's
Yeah, and then you mix that with some weekend
activities.
boozing. Yeah,
Yep.
so
Yep.
that's like the double Sunday scary. So I mean, it's just getting back into the routine. The weekends always feel so damn short, but
So a little tip for you. If whenever I get the Sunday scaries, I just turn off everything and turn on the Great British Baking Show on Netflix, and it just really brings me down. It gets me feeling all happy, and I tell
my
you what,
girlfriend loves that show.
oh, it's amazing.
She watches it all the time.
Amazing.
That's her shit right there.
There we go. Oh, the BBP mailbag, Aaron.
All right. Goodness. Thanks, guys.
So hold on. I have to run something by you guys.
Yeah.
We have a potential sponsor for the mailbag.
Oh.
That potential
Quick Paper-
sponsor. Quick Paper Supply doesn't sponsor the mailbag. They
You're right.
sponsor the
You're right.
timestamps.
Can't wait for another thing I have to type out. Go on.
The potential sponsor is my sister.
Oh.
She's in real estate. She's a very successful real estate agent. She mostly works in Northern Kentucky, but can get you taken care of in Ohio as well.
Okay.
And she was we were talking on the way to the volleyball tournament on Saturday about how we could run this if she was going to do the mailbag. And her name's Adrian. And I told her I think the best idea is to have our members submit a bunch of questions to my sister about me.
Oh.
And at the beginning of the mailbag, we will run one question every week of my sister answering questions about what it was like being my sister for 40 years.
What do we call that segment? Yo, Adrian!
I was thinking Ask Adrian, but Yo, Adrian might. I don't know if she'll go for that as much as we will.
I kind of like it.
But I think what I would do is I would put on the banks, like Ask Adrian, and you guys would all provide questions that you would like my sister to answer. And then we would have her cut the video of answering all these questions. Maybe with me present. Maybe we just record a thing,
Mm-hmm.
a video that we don't use, so you get my reaction to Adrian answering questions about me to promote her real estate business.
The Yo Adrian.
The Yo Adrian segment.
Good job, Aaron.
Let me know what you guys think.
Okay.
All right. Football portion of the mailbag. Which player is your best candidate for Bruce Feldman's Freaks List coming out this summer?
It's got to be Deshaun, right? I would think. Or maybe Briggs.
Does he do some freaky stuff? Yeah, Briggs or Dante.
Corleone.
Yeah,
Probably.
mine's got to be Briggs.
Yeah.
Like he can bench press 225 100 times, right?
It's like for the Freaks List, you gotta be able to do amazing feats of athleticism. Not that we don't have guys that are athletic. It's just I don't know if we have Deshaun isn't doing anything insane.
I think Corleone getting one pull-up this offseason is insane.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to get you on the freaks list.
I mean,
agree to disagree.
That's such a funny thing that they put on the freaks. It's one pull-up.
but
That would spark some debate, though. That'd be smart. You'll have a bunch of, I can do one pull-up.
Do it. Get up there. But no,
dumbasses.
Nico said both of them were pushing some serious weight. So I imagine you can set it out there. Say, look at this 6'2" bowling ball and see how much weight he can push. And then Bruce is like, yeah, that's a freak right there. That's a freak. So.
All right. Since there is now so much year-to-year roster churn, do you think there may be a move to have secret football scrimmages against other schools like basketball now does, so teams are better prepared to start the season?
I don't see it. I don't think that
you're
it's
risking
something.
injury.
Yeah, I don't think that it's something they're willing to really actually do. I think actually, like, my opinion, what would work best is to do the practices that you see NFL teams do.
You joint practice.
Where like a joint practice, you have 2 practices. You go back to back on like a Wednesday and a Thursday, or a Friday and a Saturday, or whatever. And you have a team come to your facility, or you go to their facility, or whatever the case may be, and you squeeze in a couple practices. Now, the problem with that being, somebody's gonna have to pay for the other team to come to you,
live,
and stay for 2 nights, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
It would probably be very regional. It would probably be coaches that know each other well.
Mm-hmm.
I could see something like that working, but I just don't know that they'd ever actually pull the trigger on allowing it.
Yeah,
I think it would work better in the spring. We've seen people talk about it in the fall for camp.
Yeah.
I think teams are so regimented for camp that would be really difficult. I think in the spring, like the middle of spring, like, 2 weeks ago, you have a Friday, Saturday joint practice.
Especially if you do it with a team that you're zeroing in on one of their guys and can maybe have an after-hours conversation and sneak
right,
it
I think that's another reason why teams aren't going to want to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was Dilfer at UAB that was talking about how it would be fun to do this. But I mean, think about it. If you've got like a P5 program, scrimmages UAB, and then word gets out that UAB won by like 2 touchdowns or something, then all of a sudden the fan base is freaking out for the next 3 months, and just the snowball effect of all that is just
Trent Dilfer's a dude, man.
Probably stuff they don't want to see.
Here's the one thing though that I know players always talk about, Ryan. You can attest to this. Like, you just get tired beating up on your own guys.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it would be nice for a practice or 2 to beat up on somebody else's guys.
Yeah, I think it'd be a fun idea. I think it'd be cool. I think especially with those bigger programs, you go do like Power 5 teams. Like, I mean, shit, everyone, that's just easy money. You could film it on the conference network of both teams. Like that, I think it's a great idea. I think they got plenty of money. They might even not lose as much as you'd think, because they're going to be netting some money from the advertisements.
Make it one of those fundraiser things.
This is how you get Miami off the schedule, right?
You do what? You scrimmage them. You practice them. you gotta keep playing the Red Hawks, man. That's too good of a rivalry.
Keep the streak going. You don't want to randomly be like, yeah, so we sat half our starters in the scrimmage against Miami.
You mean like Miami does to Cincinnati?
And they're saying they won by like 1 on a last second field goal. It didn't happen. No chance. But
anyway,
I don't know. We'll see.
We all know wide receiver needs depth. Are we okay with the starters, or will the portal need to address that in addition to just adding depth players? I think we've covered that question in depth already throughout this podcast. The staff landed Wheelock and Grover, which was a great start to securing the state of Cincinnati. What other top 50 2024 Ohio football prospects is Cincinnati recruiting right now? Who of the group do you feel has a high probability of joining Cincy's 2024 class?
We've talked about Gavin Grover's quarterback. Stay tuned to the board. We'll keep you updated as things evolve. And I'm not going to get too in-depth into high school recruiting coverage on these podcasts, because there has to be something that people pay for on the site. So I know you guys want to get everything for free, but some of that stuff we'll keep on the board.
That's why I was asking about Seamus.
Yeah, that one's enough out there right now
Right.
that we can talk about it a little bit.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Jaheim Thomas the perfect example of how the new world of portal transactions create perceptions that get into the head of a player, in this case, a 4-star that played a lot of snaps, and possibly lead to a transfer that was not wanted by the player or the team? What goes through a 20-year-old mind when Dorian Jones and Dan Greshik show up right when it's your time to shine? Is he thinking, how many more portal linebackers will show up? And what does that mean to me? Does it create a major mental challenge for players already in the program?
I'll start
Sure.
with this. Yeah, it does. Everything's a competition, and you're competing against your guys. You're feeling comfortable, like, oh, I got my snaps. I made plays last year. Then all of a sudden, you see two guys come in who made just the same amount of plays last year, just not with your team, and you're thinking, well, what are the coaches thinking here? I thought I was one of the guys. And there's two paths guys choose. Some guys hunker down and they want to stay and win the job out, and some guys choose to leave and they try to make a decision what's best for them and their career. Especially nowadays, I think the rules have given guys way more opportunities to kind of put like their futures first, which is good. I think as long as you have a good mindset towards it, I think it could be used for good things, so guys can prolong their careers and make some money.
Yeah.
But sometimes, it also can create like a shitstorm, and you've seen like we talk about all the time with basketball, what it's doing to the high school recruiting. It's just a nightmare almost, and you're going to see similar things happen like that with football. But it definitely, like, back to my point, you see guys come in this portal. It's crazy nowadays. So you're just going to have guys shifting all over the place, and it makes it a lot easier for guys just say, you know what, I don't want to risk it. And it's more power to them, but it's all just about what you feel.
Everybody's going to make their own decision.
Yeah.
That's just, like, that's part of this that you have to understand now, that we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Like, now college sports is transactional. It was never like, it was everybody looked for signing day and, like the first day of camp to see like what a depth chart looked like. College sports
it was so hard to write a 2-deep.
Right. Because every time a new group came onto the field, it looked completely different than the time before. So
4 running backs in the first 2 drives.
Right. So it's difficult, but each player's got to make their own decision. Hiccups.
To quote my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies, sometimes you got to ask yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? Do you guys really think this offensive line will perform better this year? I still have my doubts. Hopefully, Coach Sat can get a stud left tackle.
From what I've seen, I think they are going to be really good in the run game. I can't say exactly what pass protection will look like, because we've seen them struggle with some pass protection stuff. I mean, there was a sack fumble on the first play of the spring game. You have to equate for the fact that they blitz or they bring pressure this defense from everywhere. So that's going to cause some issues for an offensive line. Would I like to see them go add a starter quality tackle to this roster going into the spring or going into the summer? Yeah. I think that would be an important portal addition. But guess what? Most everybody, whether it's adding a starting left or right tackle or adding a swing tackle to their program, there are very few programs that are 3 deep at tackle. And everybody's looking for one. So it's going to be tough.
So quite the opposite of last year, where the offensive line could pass protect, but not run.
I just think with the schemes and the way that they run, the way that this offense asks you to run the ball, it's a little bit easier for offensive linemen to play in that scheme than it is just lining up and consistently beating 8 in the box, 9 in the box. Like, that's really hard.
Well, how do you think that changes with Luke Condra coming back? if and when he comes back.
But he's a guard.
I just didn't know if that changed where guys are lined up or.
No, I don't think it changes anything at tackle. I think they could add a tackle and feel pretty good about things.
Just didn't know if anybody was kicking out at that point.
I don't think so. I don't think they have any guards that I could see sliding out to tackle like as things currently stand.
They're not hiding a Lorenz Metz at guard that can go bulldoze at tackle.
I don't think so.
All right. I've never heard this specifically. Will the Big 12 14 temporarily be organized into divisions, or is it the same as before? Best two teams play for the crown.
I have not heard that they're going to divisions. I would expect that I would think if they were going to division, the schedules are announced, right?
I think everyone's going away from divisions across the country.
Yeah. Like, look, if there were divisions, we would know. The schedule's out. You would know these are the games against the East, these are the games against the West, or the North, or the South, or however it was done.
I don't even think they're doing the pod idea that people had talked about where you have like 4 different pods.
Well, that would be if you had 16 teams. 14, it makes it weird to do. Like 4 doesn't divide into, you're a math guy, 4 doesn't divide into 14.
12.
There's
when
14
they go to,
right
when,
now.
Well, when they go to 12,
they barely made decisions for this year.
Well, and we'll see what happens with
and 3 14 pods that makes things even more complicated.
We'll
if you did 16 with 4 14 pods, then it's a little bit more.
Look, it's all going to depend on what conference realignment Dan Simon has to say. If you end up with 16 teams because you add by subtraction and all of that, things will get weird.
Right.
Excuse me if this has been discussed already. Also, my only bias is to start the best player to help us win. I know that Coach Satterfield has historically gone with dual threat quarterbacks. However, with a pretty good running back room, what should be a decent O-line and a decimated receiver room? Wouldn't it make sense to start the quarterback with the best arm? Thanks for your thoughts.
I mean, you could look at it 2 ways.
Play the guy that makes you think is going to give you the best chance to win.
Yeah, and you could say, bad O-line. You might want to expand the run game with the quarterback option. You might want to expand the scramble game in lieu of bad O-line with the mobile quarterback. But with bad receivers, if he doesn't have, that good of an arm, is he be able to throw guys open? Is he be able to hit the right spots all the time? There's not going to be as much space. So it's a constant back and forth battle. So I think it just goes back to who do you have the most faith in that can run the offense, make decisions, and execute. And maybe not look too hard into can he scramble or can he throw the 15-yard out on the back shoulder with the perfect timing. So it's kind of a bullshit answer on my end, but
you're learning coach speak. I like it.
I'm a politician, bro. I'm playing every side of the coin and the fucking
Brent,
edges of them too.
I mean,
out here, Brent.
It just depends on what the staff really thinks would lead to the most wins, because you did see last year when Evan did play, his threat of running the football opened up more lanes for the running backs. But you also have been hearing that when Ben has been tucking and running so far this spring, he's kind of shown a little bit of athleticism that on a bum foot.
Yeah.
I listened to every single pod. If it wasn't you saying it, someone else said it. So,
I thought it was Justin.
Yeah, it might have been Justin. Who knows? But showing that he's not just a statue, I guess, is what you can say. So
I don't know that look. Ben is a pretty stationary quarterback.
Oh, I agree, but I'm just saying that someone said it. I'm just reiterating it here. So. But yeah, I mean, having the threat of a dual threat quarterback.
I don't even think Royer, who's one of his best friends, would say Ben getting out of the pocket is a good idea.
I'm just saying that he could be a threat to cut it up the middle for 6 yards.
He has a little more sneaky athleticism than people give him credit for, but I wouldn't
even
be
now
home about it. I haven't seen him run in a minute. But
I'm saying 6 yards. He wasn't fully healthy in spring.
Stick the foot.
I'll give
in
you
the
4. I'll give you 4.
Yeah.
I'll give you
Hey,
4.
he had like a 30-yard touchdown run in his sophomore year. But
That was a long time ago. It's like 5 years.
All right.
It's like 2000. That was before COVID.
what a time. What a time.
And the last question in the football mailbag comes from JSAG Cincy. How do we know so we know? No clue what this is in reference to.
It's if you know, you know, is what it's in reference.
So essentially, the new staff, the new recruiting staff,
Well done, Brent.
does something kind of. They do something a lot different than the old staff. The old staff, if something happened, they didn't show their hand until it was like 30 minutes before an announcement was made. The new staff likes to get out in front of it, and when they're pretty confident something is going down, then they tweet it, and then they figure out all the details after.
Mhm.
It's just handling things in a different way between different staffs. It's one of those things you have to go through when you're dealing with the coaching change and a staff change. Everybody's going to do things different. This staff likes to shoot out a little firework, like on 4th of July, the people that shoot off fireworks at like 2:00
In the morning?
and you're like, no, in the afternoon, like way before the fireworks show, and you're like, you hear it, but you can't see it because it's 2:00 in the afternoon. This staff likes to shoot off those 2:00 in the afternoon fireworks, where the old staff like to shoot off like that, 9:00. The show's about to start firework.
The bets.
And it's just changing your perception.
That's the football portion of the mailbag. The basketball portion of the mailbag starts off with what would be more likely, Jameel Reynolds averaging 15 points per game for Cincy or Jeremiah Davenport averaging 15 points per game for Arkansas?
I don't think either are going to happen, but Reynolds is coming into a situation where they are going to be asking him to be a prolific scorer here at Cincinnati.
Also,
they are replacing a lot of points.
Jameel has a much higher chance to start, I would think.
Well, Arkansas, like Jeremiah is going to be a piece at Arkansas. And the way that they play, he's going to be an important piece. I just don't know that he's going to ever be hot enough to score 15 a game. Because when you score 15 a game, you're going to have some 20s, some 23s, some 24s in there. So I don't think either are going to score 15 points a game. More likely would be Reynolds.
I'll be surprised if Reynolds isn't averaging 10-ish.
I would guess 12.5, 13 would be my rough estimation right now for his output.
Yeah.
Anything else to add there, Brent?
No, Chad gave the correct answer to the question.
All right, just making sure.
Nailed it.
With Jameel Reynolds officially signing today, where do you think things stand with Musa Cisse?
I don't think Musa Cisse will be a Bearcat.
Say you later.
Say
Your way out.
Say your way out.
See you done.
Not considering possible portal additions, what does Josh Reed need to improve on this summer to get more run next year?
Be a little bit more consistent as a shooter, because I think that is always right now, like especially with his profile, that's always the better way onto the floor. So if the season opens up and Josh, is hitting 42% from three, that's going to give him a lot more opportunity to increase his role.
Hard to keep the kid off the floor is shooting 42%.
And rebound. And I think that's the other thing is, like, if he can continue to show he can rebound from that combo forward spot, shoot, rebound, be reliable on defense. You don't have to be great on defense. If you do those three things, laugh, you cry. I had a little Jimmy V action there for you. If you do those three things, you're going to be on the floor a lot. Because if you're reliable in those three areas, you're steady on defense, You rebound the basketball, you shoot the basketball. Coaches are going to have a hard time keeping you on the bench.
Brent, I have another thought. I'm curious if you have the same thought I have. But tell me what your thoughts are on Josh Reed.
I mean, yeah, I agree. His shot was on early in the year, and then it really was off at the end of the year.
He was missing bad.
Yeah, he was missing pretty bad. I've seen a lot of people kind of put a comparison of Jermaine Sanders for him. I mean, if he can provide help on the glass, rebounding, and kind of fit that role of knocking down open threes to space the court as well, because I mean, look at the bigs on the roster. That's a lot of clogging the paint unless, Vic kind of does take that next step and learns to step out and hit mid-range and even out to the three-point line, like Wes has mentioned numerous times. That's going to be a pretty clogged lane. So when Reed is on the court, you've got to make sure that he has the defenders at least respecting the shot. So I agree with Chad. Again, I think getting that consistent jumper down is the biggest thing that he needs to improve this summer.
I think that he needs to improve his confidence. So I'd like to see him involved in a summer league of some sort. And I also think that I'd like to see him just hit the weight room with the Monster Factory super hard and come back either having put some weight on or just come back chiseled.
Yeah, would be all good things. There's no doubt. I mean, I think, he showed some athleticism with some blocks and some rebounds. His offense doesn't really show too much athleticism, but I mean, I think if he's knocking down that shot, it'll just open up things so much more on the offensive side. I think he's got pretty good defense. He's got good instincts, good help side defense. Minutes got to be effective out there, and spacing will be something to watch out for too.
What's the cutoff date for players entering the portal, or is there one?
I think for football, it's the end of the month. Are we still on football?
This is basketball.
Basketball. I think it's May 15th. I think it's like a 45-day window for basketball. I need to double check that. It's either the end of the month or the middle of May. I'm not sure which.
So
my brain doesn't work.
Wait to see. Pat can dunk.
It's one of those two. I'll put it on the board. I'm sorry.
All right. All good. That is the basketball portion of the mailbag, and wrapping it up with the Banks portion of the mailbag. Good evening, gents. Favorite Chinese dish?
General's chicken.
General So's?
Yeah, General. Well, a lot of places just call it General. Maybe they're like but General So's chicken. Appetizer is crab rangoon.
Those are solid.
That's my two.
Brent?
Kelly, I'll answer for Kelly, and it's not Chinese, but Kelly was chicken pad thai. And egg drop soup.
Boom.
I love General So's as well, and I love little egg rolls, man. Give me some egg rolls. Give me some. What else? What
do you dip? Do you dip egg rolls? Are you
duck sauce?
Kelly and Kelsey like the spicy mustard for the egg rolls.
Nah, I never tried that. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Chad, May 11th is what I'm reading for, because it's a new 60-day window, which I guess is right there with what you were saying still, but May 11th is what I'm reading. I'd go, I like a good, fried rice, whether it's shrimp, chicken, but it's got to be good. There's this Thai place that has really, I know it's not Chinese, but I mean, I don't know. But it's really good fried rice.
It's Asian.
Yeah, it's really good fried rice.
Do you ever have pineapple fried rice?
They have that too.
Rice, that's really good.
I tried the crab fried rice. Don't get that.
Don't do that. Don't get that. That's not.
You got any good Chinese places around? My side of town.
Your side of town, I don't know, but I have the best Chinese place in Greater Cincinnati, and it's Kung Fu Chu Amerasia in Covington.
Where is it?
Covington, right in the heart of downtown. Yeah, that's the spot. Amerasia.
Amerasia, all right.
I like Mushu pork. I think that's actually really good. And if it's not that, because some places don't actually have that, then I'm going actually General Tso's as well. And I get 2 appetizers because I'm a fat kid when it comes to Chinese, and egg rolls and dumplings. Give me some. It doesn't matter, steamed or pan fried. I prefer steamed, but if you got a pan fried, I'm not going to say no.
I'll hammer some steamed dumplings. Oh
yeah.
We had it last night. You're not crab rangoon guys?
Oh,
I love crab rangoon too.
I hammer crab rangoon.
I'll eat crab rangoon. I'm not ordering crab rangoon. I'm ordering dumplings.
If I order crab rangoon, you'll have one of mine.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm not ordering an order of crab rangoon. I'm ordering. Last night I ordered General Tso's, 2 egg rolls, and dumplings. Because again,
are you guys?
You eat all that, man? You big
no, hell no. I had so much General Tso's left, but I did get through half an order of dumplings and my 2 egg rolls.
There is a place right by my. There's a place right by my house. I can be there in like 4 minutes. Has maybe one of the best Chinese restaurant names in history. Walk and Roll.
Oh yeah.
And look, this place. No lie, this place is like. It takes me. I could listen to one song on the radio and be there. I will order it as I'm pulling out of my driveway. And as I'm pulling into the place, they are putting it in the bag and putting it on the counter for me.
But is it good?
It is. Yeah, it's good. And
is the convenience weigh a lot into that, though?
No, it's actually like I would get it if I had to call 10 minutes ahead. It's just that I know with that place, if I call as I'm pulling out of my driveway, they will have it when I pull in. And walk into the restaurant, they'll be putting it in the bag.
They don't mess around over there, man.
No, it's that place, and they're busy. They're busy, but whatever they do in the back of that place, they got shit ready to go, and it's good. It's not Amerasia good, but it's really good.
All right.
Here we go.
Sprinkles or no sprinkles on your ice cream? I'm not a sprinkles guy.
Yeah, me either.
Nah, I'll pass.
Pick your poison, 12-hour layover in Newark or swimming for 15 minutes in the Licking River.
12 hours in Newark.
Newark, New Jersey?
Yes.
Wait, I don't even know what the Licking River is.
So you know that river, right, that comes off of the Ohio River, right in northern Kentucky?
Yeah, right by Covington, on your way to Covington.
Yeah, between Covington and Newport is the Licking River, yeah.
Oh, my Christ, yeah.
I'm gonna hang out in the Newark airport for, you can make that 36 hours, and I would still pick the Newark airport.
At the end of the day, you're probably either coming from somewhere cool or going somewhere cool if you're in Newark. Right. There's nothing good that comes of being in the Licking River other than you probably need to be tested for tetanus afterwards.
So do you guys remember... God, it was probably 15 years ago. Some dude lost a bet at the Reds game. The Reds were losing to the Brewers. They came back and they won late. And this dude backstroked the Ohio River from the Red Stadium to northern Kentucky. And he got arrested like the cops were waiting for him on the other side.
Why?
He lost a bet. He was like, if the Reds come back and win this game, you can't do that, man. You can't just... What? You can't just backstroke the Ohio River at 11 o'clock at night on a Tuesday.
Sir, is there a curfew for the Ohio River?
I don't think you can just swim the Ohio. I don't think you can just swim the Ohio River.
They don't have signs up that say you can't go swimming in the Ohio River. I mean, enter at your own risk, sure, but
anyhow, that was my buddy Eddie, and they showed on the video that night they showed him getting out of the water. We were all like, "Yep, we called him Crazy Eddie."
What a legend.
He literally, he was there with his buddies, and he was like, if the Reds win this game, I'm swimming back to Kentucky.
Does he do a radio show with Tracy?
No, that's a different...
That's a different Crazy Eddie.
It's a different Eddie. Similar, but different.
Thanks.
At least in the 12-hour layover, you can find a bar and get some...
I think somebody said, I think you can gamble in the Newark airport.
Well, then, yeah, that's a no-brainer.
With a 12-hour layover, you could go take in a Knicks game, right? That's a long layover.
And Newark's right there.
Right.
You can do a lot. Newark sucks. But there's plenty to do in 12
You're around
hours.
A lot. Yeah.
You can go get pizza in Brooklyn.
Go see the Statue of Liberty for
Right.
What if you can't leave though?
Go to Scores.
What's
There you
that, the strip club
Moving on.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
in the
Look,
airport?
No,
in the airport. Now we've got an idea, Ryan.
Look, there's a lot like. Never mind. I'm just gonna let's answer.
All right.
This is a great question here, Fat Boy.
So thanks, Skins, as always. You were in your car tooling down the road when one of your favorite songs comes on. You turn the volume up and really get into it. If you are not careful, you look down and see that you're magically doing 90 miles an hour. Thus, you are listening to a 90 miles per hour song. Best 90 miles per hour song. So many for me, including "Kickstart My Heart" by Motley Crue. Yours, go Bearcats.
Killing in the Name, Rage Against the Machine.
Ooh. You like that one, or do you like Bulls on Parade more?
Look, when we get to the "fuck you, I won't do what they tell me" part,
Yeah.
like I'm going.
That's so good.
I'm going 90. I might be going 95 at that point. That was that. So I'm so old that came out when I was in high school, and I would time up. I would time up that song to when I would race. So I would be listening to that in the like when it's your turn to race and you're in the starting blocks and you're practicing and you're getting ready to run the race, and all I have in my headphones is "fuck you, I won't do what you tell me," and
"Don't you die, justify."
Yeah, right. So yeah, Killing in the Name, 95 miles an hour down the expressway. That's easy number one for me. I'll tell you, I'll give you number two in a minute.
I've got a backwards red hat on, so this seems fitting.
Fred Durst.
Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit.
Mine's got to be Bulls on Parade.
That's
yeah, I mean, with Rage. Wait, or wait. The fucking, what is it called? The song they would play every time the threes went out at practice. Oh, I gotta think of the name. It's like, just like a death metal that like, I forget it. Hold on.
I do have a number two, and this is one like you got to be pretty hardcore 90s to know where I'm going here. But Primus, Here Come the Bastards. That was the song before Killing in the Name was Primus, Here Come the Bastards. So those are my two, and they always will be, because when they just take me back to fast.
Yeah. Jeffrey Inman agrees. I've got a story. Actually happened to me. So we were driving up to Minnesota, and I'm not afraid to admit it. It was some Taylor Swift playing in the car. Love.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Where'd he go?
I don't know what happened. Where did he lost his connection?
I mean, it's a shame.
No shame.
No
shame.
What are we doing?
No shame. I was going, and I got pulled over in Wisconsin going 90, and I got a speeding ticket. So,
what song?
Your story. It was Love Story. It was me and two other dudes. We were just being dudes and just singing our little hearts out at about 1 a.m. trying to make it to Minnesota straight through the night. So it was yeah.
Huh.
Okay, I'll give you one. I'll give you one in that regard, like an unexpected one.
Yeah.
What's the Alanis Morissette tune where she's fucking like really like, I know she's really mad in all of them, but she's talking about Dave Pouillet, the guy from Full House. I Remind You. Is that it? Is that the name of it?
You Remind Me.
You Remind Me. Yeah. Where she's like, was she perverted like me when I went down on you in a theater? Yeah, like that song can get you driving pretty fast. That's an aggressive song. And I will say, maybe the most surprising concert I've ever been to was Alanis Morissette. She was awesome. Like when she opened up for somebody, I was working in radio at the time. I was working concerts. I think I've told this story before. If I haven't, I'm gonna tell it again. I was working, I think it was Bare Naked Ladies. I had to work a Bare Naked Ladies concert, and Alanis Morissette opened. And I didn't want to be there. Like, I don't like the Bare Naked Ladies. But once you're in the venue, you can't leave until the concert's over because you got a van parked, and you're not allowed to drive over people, apparently, on your way out. So you had to stay. So we had to stay for this concert. And Kelly and I were both there. She came with me that day. And Alanis Morissette knocked our dicks off. She was so good. She was so fucking good. And then the Bare Naked Ladies sucked. But like maybe the most surprised I ever was at a concert was when that set ended. Everybody that was around us looked at each other like, holy shit. That was really fucking good. So yeah, you remind me, Alanis Morissette. You might end up doing 90.
All right.
That's a great question, Fat Boy. Too.
I agree. And last question. What is a more idiotic statement? Barstool Apparel announcement this week on Twitter, or Aaron stating it will be easier to watch his toddler when she starts moving? By the way, her moving, not hard. It's fine. She actually is cool coming to me, hanging out with me, like all of that. It's the screaming. It's the screaming that's not fun.
Is she climbing?
She's couch surfing.
That's not what I asked.
That's what I'm trying to do,
it's not, she's not climbing.
I said when she started moving, and right now, I mean, we got a gate up. We got 2 gates up actually, and everything's copacetic.
We just keep her in a cage. It's fine.
I mean, I'm in the cage too, like, and the dog's pissed because the dog's like, "How do I get out of this thing?" Like, it's fine.
I mean, the Barstool thing is not idiotic because, like, it is what it is. I can't say I've got a no comment this conversation, but it is what it is. Like, everybody tries in this society to be right first. You know, I don't believe Aaron. I think it's more difficult that she's moving than when she was just laying on a blanket in the middle of the floor, because I'm a dad. I've been through this. Like, when they're laying on a blanket in the middle of the floor, it's pretty easy.
I disagree. She's far more like she finds things to do for herself instead of me having to be the sole source of entertainment. She also sees the TV now, and she's paying attention to the TV now. Like, these are things that are happening.
I guess I'm a lot more entertaining than you. Well, my kid was just entertaining.
You're a cartoon. I would not disagree. That's the mailbag.
That was a fun.
Get us out of here, Brent.
That was a fun Banks portion. Good work.
There you go. There you go. Awesome, man.
Beta hat, beta story.
He ain't lying.
Oh, I needed this so bad tonight, fellas. So bad.
Well, good show.
So mad.
I'm not mad at all. The hat's actually a pretty cool hat. Story's definitely beta, though, no doubt. But hey, special thanks to
the white hat.
It's gray. It's gray. It's gray.
Mike Tomlin ain't coming for you, Brent.
I tell you, it's gray. Y'all must be colorblind because that's white back there.
It had to be.
My cheeks hurt from laughing. It's been a while.
That's white.
Oh my god.
That sucker's gray. But yeah.
Yeah.
Story's beta. But special thanks to Danco, Joe, Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Special thanks to Quick Paper Supply, and of course, as always, special thanks to my boys, my fellas, my guys,
and soon to be my sister.
And soon to be Adrian.
Yeah.
But for Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, and Ryan Royer, I am Brent Young. Yet again, another fantastic BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.